Hello class, welcome to today's segment whereby we shall be discussing things to note stroke mistakes to avoid in relation to the speaking IELTS test. So let's get right into it. Number 1, take the time given for ID confirmation to compose yourself, familiarize yourself with the environment and the examiner. As I said previously, once you get into the examination room, there's time where the examiner introduces him or herself and also confirms that you are the person who had actually registered the examination. So please take this time to compose yourself, familiarize with the environment, because it's like the first 3 to 5 minutes. This time is not part of the examination. So take this time to relax, compose yourself, get a feel of your environment. You get what I mean? Okay. Do not try to fake your accent. Relax, it's just a normal semi-interview session. Guys, please, consider the examiner as your colleague or as your friend. Talk to the examiner the same way you talk to your friend or your colleague. Do not try to put up a fake accent. They're not testing your accent. They're just testing your ability to communicate. So don't try to use a British accent. Don't try to talk too fast or too slow. Don't try to show that you're very, very knowledgeable. Like, they're just testing your ability to communicate, to talk in English. Just that. And once you realize this, then you'll have no reason to fear this test. Okay. Guys, no one-word answers at all. Please give an explanation, give brief information, or give an example. Guys, the secret to the speaking test is do not give one-word answers, no matter what. Never, ever, ever. Your answer should be accompanied either by an example, either by some brief explanation, either with statements talking about the past or the future. Never give a one-word answer, no matter what. Guys, no matter what. Even if they ask you, what is your, okay, I'm thinking of a question. For example, a question is a question such as, where did you school at? In my case, for example, I say Kenyatta University. Guys, that will automatically lower my points. This because I have not explained to my listener like in detail. They don't know what Kenyatta University is. They don't know if that is a church, a school, a university, a secondary school, a primary school. So in this case, I should say something like, I studied at Kenyatta University for my undergraduate. Kenyatta University is located along Thika Road, and it's a very, very prestigious university, and I'd advise anybody looking for a university to choose that university as their preferred university. You see, those are statements. Like, you are giving an explanation about your answer. Never just say Kenyatta University. I can also say, I school at Kenyatta University for my undergraduate level. Kenyatta University was founded in 1990, for example. This is just an example. 1972, and it has been running ever since. That can be my answer. I can say I schooled at Kenyatta University for my undergraduate level. I schooled there for 4 years, and I recently graduated in 2022. You see, it doesn't have to have a specific formula. You just have to explain your answer more. You get what I mean? No one-word answers. For example, somebody asks you, what's your favorite food? You say chicken. When you say chicken, that's an automatic reduce of your points. You should say, my favorite meal is chicken. I especially love chicken curry accompanied with rice and some salad on the side. You can also say my favorite food is chicken curry. I love to eat it on weekends. My favorite restaurant that prepares this meal is CJ's restaurant located in Nairobi, Kenya. My favorite food is okay. My favorite food is chicken curry. I loved this meal ever since my mother began preparing it for me when I was in kindergarten, and since then it's been my favorite food. So what I'm trying to say, there's no formula of answering your question, but ensure that you don't give one word answer. You just give an answer and then explain the answer either by an example, either by talking about the past, the future. You get what I mean? You explain your answer. So no one, even if they ask you, what's your favorite hairstyle? My favorite hairstyle is lines going on the back, this cornrows. My favorite hair is cornrows. I have been obsessed with this hairstyle since last year when I saw my friend getting cornrows. You see, that's an explanation. My favorite hair is cornrows because I feel like it's very official and formal, and I feel comfortable with this hairstyle in any setting. That's also another explanation. You get what I mean? Okay. We'll practice this until it just becomes second to nature. Okay. I had talked about these 2 points, but I'll repeat them. Record yourself during practice sessions to have an idea of your performance, especially for part 2. Make sure you last at least 1.5 minutes in part 2. Guys, as I said earlier, always ensure that during your practice tests, you record yourself, because once you record yourself, you're able to pinpoint your areas of weakness, you're able to pinpoint your fluency and your grammatical correctness, especially in part 2. As you remember, part 2 is whereby you're given a topic and you're supposed to talk about this topic. Part 2, the examiner does not ask you a question. The examiner just presents to you a topic sentence, and you're supposed to talk about this topic the examiner has presented to you, and you're given 2 minutes to talk about this topic. So it's like it's not a dialogue, it's like what is it called? It's like you're giving a speech or you're giving a talk about this topic, and you're given 2 minutes to talk about this given topic. So ensure, especially for part 2, you record yourself, because many a times that the student has you find that you do not go to the full 2 minutes. So during your practices, you can realize that most of your speech takes about 1 minute, and then you can improve on that. Or you realize, once you listen to your recordings, you realize actually many a times that you veer off the topic you've been given. And then you can correct this mistake before your actual examination. So always record yourself. Okay. You don't necessarily need to be telling the truth, but I'd advise you say something close to the truth, as that way you'd have more information and examples to give. Guys, I repeat, always tell the examiner the truth or something you can easily defend. Because something that you can easily defend, you can always have information about what you've said. You can always give examples about what you've said, because it's the truth. You do not need time to gather your thoughts. For example, had I said that I schooled at the University of Nairobi, yet I schooled at Kenyatta University, it will be quite hard for me to gather thoughts about University of Nairobi, because I am not familiar with that university. I'll be saying, University of Nairobi is located in the examiner does not know that you lied. What the examiner will assume is that you are not able to communicate well because you are very, very hesitant while you are talking. You get what I mean? But if you said the truth, then you'll have the information, because automatically I know where Kenyatta University is located because I schooled there. So please do not try to show the examiner something that you are not. For example, Yeah, just be yourself and try to tell the truth. Okay. Find a stronghold in the 3 sections and ace that stronghold to the fullest. Many are times that part 1 for many students is their stronghold, because part 1 is usually about personal questions, and for personal questions, because you're very familiar with yourself and your environment, it will be very easy for a candidate to answer those questions. So you can either choose part 1 to be a stronghold, practice on part 1 to the fullest, and ensure that you get the highest attainable score in part 1. And part 2 and part 3, you can also do your best. This does not mean when you choose a stronghold that you ignore the other parts. All the parts you should perform well, but as we all know that nobody is perfect. So probably there are some areas you're not very good at, some areas you're good at. So just choose your stronghold and work on it, as it will pull the other parts to come to a very good average. Okay. Take practice questions very seriously, otherwise it will lose meaning. Guys, this is a mistake I personally made. While I was preparing for my IELTS examination, I had a friend ask me questions, yeah? And for part 2, my friend asked me a question. I will not forget. The question was, what is your most memorable photo? That is during my practice tests. Yeah. So when my friend asked me that question, I just thought, plus we were tired and we were friends, so it was not like serious. She just asked me questions, I answer. If I don't know that answer, I just say, I don't know. Because, we were taking those practice tests like a joke. Especially in speaking, because I was like, how can I fail speaking while I always speak in English most of the time? So I underestimated the speaking module. So in turn, I didn't take my practice questions seriously. So this question, when my friend asked me what is your most memorable photo, I guess that time we were tired, so I just told her, my most memorable photo was a photo I took at Ngong Hills, blah blah blah. Like I just give a very brief answer. Guys, that exact question was the question I was asked by my examiner. I tell you, my mind went blank. This is because I was like, wait, I know this question, but I hadn't prepared for this question. So it's like I'm starting from zero. But had I taken that question seriously during my practice test, I would have really aced that question, because I would have already practiced it very well. So guys, what I mean is, during your practice test, take each practice test like the actual exam. Answer the questions your friend will ask you, or the questions you will be recording yourself seriously, just the same way you'd answer those questions in the exam room. This is because if you don't take them seriously, then it will have beat the whole purpose of practicing. Because when that question comes to the exam, then you will be starting from scratch, as if you didn't practice that question. I know you can't practice all questions, but it doesn't hurt to find the same question that you practiced in the exam. You get what I mean? Because for me, I tackled that question as if it was a new question, but had I taken it seriously, I would not have tackled it as if it was a new question. You get what I mean? So just better be prepared. You might be lucky you find the questions in your practice test are the same questions repeated, which happens very oftenly, guys. Very oftenly, because there are not many personal questions a person can ask you. There are not very many speeches somebody can ask you to talk about. So just practice. Yeah, guys, another thing, please, as much as we keep repeating that the speaking module is one of the most popular modules among students because they find it a bit easier, do not underestimate it. Just take it with the same seriousness you take the other modules. take it seriously, because it might really boost your score. For example, if you don't take it seriously, you get, maybe for me, I got a band 7.5, which I feel is because I underestimated that test. It is not a bad score, it was a very good score, but I know I could have done better. I could have gotten a 8.5, you see. But because I had underestimated it, especially part 2, I just got an average, a good score, not a great score. You get what I mean? So do not underestimate speaking module. If it's possible, ensure you get band 8 and above. Or I've seen even students get band 8.5, band 9. Something very achievable. But if you underestimate it, then no practice, no luck. Okay. Smile and relax. It's just an examination. You're just talking to your friend, you're just talking to your colleague, you're not even talking to your boss. This is not like an interview, it's just like you're speaking to someone. So just relax and smile. Don't be somber. Okay. No need for complex sentences all through the test. You can use simple and meaningful wording. Guys, as much as we keep repeating that you should add some spice in your wording, don't let every single sentence have like 5 synonyms, have like 5 connectors. Like, come on. Like, just speak the way you speak normally, but you can add some spice. Like, for example, in a sentence like, I love going out, you can say, I enjoy going to new places. You see, it's simple wording, but a little bit spiced up. But you have not also used very, very complex words. Because the more you try to complicate your sentences, the harder it will be for you to gather your thoughts. Because remember, an examiner asks you a question. After the question, you have like 3 seconds to think about the answer. Okay, this is not predetermined, but it's advisable to take 3 to 5 seconds to think of your answer and then answer it. So you do not want to take too long thinking of complex wordings, and also you do not want to go straight into answering and then you realize you gave the wrong answer or you phrased your answer wrongly. So find a balance between using complex wording and taking decent amount of time in answering the examiner. Okay. So yeah, it's not a must that you keep on every word is a synonym, every sentence is an idiom, every sentence has contrast. It's not a must. You just use synonyms once in a while, use idioms once in a while, the same way you use them in normal talking to a friend or talking to a colleague. Native speakers also stutter, hesitate while talking, but this should not be too often. You could take 2 or 3 seconds to think of an appropriate answer, then proceed to answering. Guys, as I said, the examiner knows you're probably not a native speaker. And even if you are a native speakers also get confused or do not understand the question well or hesitate to answer a question. So when this happens, do not panic. Or maybe you've been talking and then at the middle of the sentence you realize you've been saying the wrong thing or you don't know the word to something. Do not panic. This is normal. There's nobody who's perfect. Even if you are a native speaker, there are probably times where you have stuttered or you've hesitated in speaking. So if this happens to you in the speaking test, guys, do not panic, but ensure it does not happen too often. That is why it is advisable when an examiner asks you a question, take 2 or 3 seconds to think about the appropriate answer. Think about how to phrase your answer for it to have maybe a synonym and idiom. This will not always happen all the time, whereby you've gotten the right synonym, the right connector, the right opening statement, but these 2 or 3 seconds gives you time to think of an appropriate answer, which can also include synonyms, idioms, and contrast or contrasts. Get what I mean? Like, you don't have to include them all the time, but these 2 or 3 seconds gives you time or opportunity to think if you'll be able to include them in this particular answer. But don't force an idiom where there's no idiom. Don't force a synonym where there's absolutely no need of a synonym. You get what I mean? Yeah. So guys, I wanted to include a certain section here, but I realized that the video is quite long, so I'll include these ones on a separate video. We will be talking about ways to spice up your speaking language. So things like how to include contrast, connectors, etc. So we've come to the end of this class, and see you in the next class. Bye.